financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is Chapter 7 in debt resolution. Which is the fastest and least costly way to dump the debt?
Oh, that harkens back to the book from years and years ago.
2012.
Dump
Ken
Your
Gross,
Debt.
Dump Your Debt. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. And you know what? That book in 2012 was just as true and advice in it as it is today. It's needed.
Remember that. Amazon.com. Jeffrey Linden.
Morning, Kim.
Jeffrey Kirshner.
Good morning. I'm ready to dump debt, but I'm going to keep all of you.
That's a good deal.
Nice.
All right, so dumping debt, but I like to keep it in the context of why, what is the goal? The ultimate goal isn't just to dump the debt. The ultimate goal is to be in a position where you can retire comfortably. That's got to be that's the mantra that you need to adopt. The 3-point retirement plan: own your home free and clear, have zero debt, and have some cash in the bank. You hit those 3 points, you're guaranteed a comfortable retirement. And that's not something the average American has. You can pick up Google anything, pick up any article, you're going to see repeatedly that people are in their 60s approaching retirement, and all they have no savings. They want to live off of Social Security, which is bringing in a nice $1,800 a month, but they have either a mortgage payment or an apartment payment. They have 1 or 2 car payments, and they've got $300 a month in credit card bills.
Which means they're not approaching retirement. That's the problem.
Because there's no way they can. First of all, you can't pay a mortgage payment or an apartment payment with utilities and food costs and transportation costs on $2,000 a month.
Nope.
Not going to happen. But if you have no mortgage payments,
I mean, and there are
No
solutions to the no mortgage payment.
then you can do that.
There are solutions with regard to that. As you get older, there's a lot of people that are taking advantage of reverse mortgages, which I don't recommend, but that it is a way to eliminate the mortgage payment. It doesn't eliminate the property tax or the homeowner's insurance
And
expenses.
the key there now is interest rates are high, so the amount that you get out of the house equity is less.
Yes.
Right.
And so it becomes a viable tool, but you really need to be old.
Yep. And then there's another one that's
Because
out there right
if
now.
you think you can reverse mortgage at 65, you're not going to get anything for your
That was
equity.
my question to you is,
You need to
there's,
be
there's still
85.
a finite period of time, isn't there, for reverse mortgage?
Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, yeah, till you die.
Okay.
I mean,
As long as you pay the property taxes.
Okay.
but there's also this new concept that's out there, which I'm really skeptical about, which is they'll give you a chunk of money and you have sold an interest in your home, period. And it comes due when you sell the house and or when you, at a certain period of time, you have to write a check and they get the initial investment in the house back
Plus a return.
Plus a return from the increase in the equity. They also share in the loss of equity if it happens to go down in value, but they're betting it's not going to happen. So it's I can't remember the term, but it's a scary concept, and it's available in about 17 states, currently available in Michigan too. And people are starting to use it.
So it's an alternative to a reverse mortgage.
What it is it's available to people that have bad credit. is
Well, wouldn't a reverse mortgage be available also?
it's a reverse mortgage is still credit based at this time. They used to not be.
First of all, if something's available to you because you have bad credit, if that's what the marketplace is for, you immediately know that you're being gouged. If they are providing you a tool, financing, and you are a bad credit risk because you have a bad credit score or bad credit history, they're charging a surcharge for that, or they wouldn't be doing it.
Right.
So you right off the bat, you have to be, just like you said, immediately skeptical of that type of a thing. Reverse mortgages conceptually make sense, but the way I look at it with high interest rates, I tell clients you can look at a reverse mortgage, but when you crunch the numbers, it's probably not a viable thing unless you're beyond 85 or at least beyond 80. From 70 to 80,
And you don't plan on leaving your house to your children, because they
Right.
will. When you pass, the reverse mortgage comes due, and there's a period of time after which you pass that the estate can settle up with the reverse mortgage. But then if they don't, it's going to get foreclosed. And usually by that point, there's no equity left in the home.
If you've lived long enough, you've used up the equity, and you wouldn't pay it, the estate wouldn't pay it off anyway.
Which is to your advantage and your estate's advantage, because they don't come back after the estate for a deficiency. It's just they get the house.
You just don't want to do a reverse mortgage where all of a sudden you're taking all your equity and what they're giving you is $1,500 a month for life out of it, but you have to pay the property taxes, and the $1,500 isn't enough because you're still have your other expenses. You have the property taxes, you've got food and everything else, and you end up underwater on the thing. Whereas if you waited, they were going to give you $1,500 a month because you're taking it out at 72. You wait till 85, and you're now getting $3,500 a month. It's a lot more beneficial situation. But you got to get there.
But the problem is that those people that are doing that reverse mortgage are carrying a ton of debt on top of it. Their credit cards are maxed out.
Which is the worst thing in the world. You don't take the equity in your house one way or another and use it to pay your credit card debt. You come up with a different way of getting rid of the credit card debt. Speaking of credit card debt, end of the third quarter 2024, 1.17 trillion credit card debt, up 8.1% from last year. About 2 million Americans each year are carrying more than $50,000 of credit card debt. When we come back from the break, I want Brian to tell us what are we going to do about this problem.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
You know, Dad always asked that we look after Mom when he passed away.
I know, but she insisted on moving down to the Villages, and now she has that new boyfriend, and I am worried. Maybe it's time to just call Samasco Law.
Take the stress out of your family's future. Reach out to Samasco Law and set a course through life's difficult times. Samasco Law, protecting what means most because that's what we do.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. All right, so you got credit card debt, and also I would just throw out there car payments. Average new car payment $737 a month. Used car payment $520. People are tapped out.
Oh, yeah.
How does Chapter 7 work to solve the problem?
Well, if you can qualify for a Chapter 7, you're going to be able to eliminate your unsecured debt. You're going to be able to conceivably eliminate income tax debt. And those things that, what's
All right,
happening?
so let me give you an example. I've got $75,000 of credit card debt. I owe income taxes from 2023 of $10,000 and I have a lingering 2019 tax debt of $10,000. And I've got medical bills of around $15,000. And I've got a car payment that's $1,100 a month for a used car that I don't really like.
Okay, so we're going to get you out from under almost all of that.
And I have $100,000 in my 401k.
Okay, you get to keep your 401k. Nobody's touching that. Can't take it away from you. It's an exempt asset, and you get to keep it. But I'm going to be able to get rid of the $75,000 worth of credit card debt, the $15,000 worth of medical bills, and I'm going to be able to get rid of the 2019 income taxes. Can't do anything about 2023, but that's where Jeff comes in. He can get the client after the bankruptcy into an installment payment agreement, possibly put them into currently not collectible status, or even conceivably if they wanted to do an offer and compromise.
What if I'm like Rudy Giuliani, though, and I have like a Mickey Mantle signed autograph baseball?
So there's only so much
that's
stuff.
worth $25,000.
There's only so much stuff you get to keep in a Chapter 7. And
But you get to keep memorabilia for free because it's memorabilia?
No. You get to keep a certain amount of assets, okay? There's federal exemptions or there's state exemptions. In Michigan, you can choose between the two. If you're choosing the federal exemptions, you can protect basically for a single person about $29,000 equity in your home. If you don't have equity in your home, you can use up to half of that to protect your other assets. $15,000 in cash you could protect. Or the Mickey Mantle baseball.
Double those?
Pardon?
If you're
Yes,
married, double those?
That's correct.
So when you say protect the equity in your home, let's say you have a house and you've got $70,000, same scenario, but you've got single person $75,000 of equity in your home. You lose the home?
So if you file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, we would then take the state of Michigan exemptions, okay? Now, if you're below 65, you can protect about $47,000 worth of equity in the home. If you're above 65, you can protect about $69,000 worth of equity in the home.
Which means what? Protecting it
Means
what?
that a trustee in bankruptcy will not be able to liquidate the asset if you have that equity position or less.
So
you
if you
just
have
mentioned
70,000,
75.
yeah.
So what would happen most likely in that is a trustee would not liquidate a house that had $75,000 worth of equity, even though your exemption was less, because the costs of sale include 6% to the real estate, to the realtor, 1% transfer tax, and then there's trustee fees. So there's some wiggle room. And generally, I wouldn't
negotiate or what?
You might have to buy yourself out by paying off the trustee over.
They give you time?
12, 24 months sometimes, yeah. But in honesty, that situation, the trustee's probably not doing anything. Change it to $100,000 equity,
right.
You're going to have to buy your way out of the problem.
So if you're...
Or you could go into a Chapter 13. and still not pay anything to your credit card debt, not pay the IRS, just pay back the 2023 IRS taxes.
So answer this for me. A married couple, how much equity can they protect in the house?
So they can protect,
Common
depends.
couple.
Federal exemptions, 50 some odd $1,000.
Total.
Yep.
State?
Exemptions, over 65, $68,000. Under 65, $48,000. Unless the married couple owns the house, tenancy by the entireties,
Which they do. That's the normal way they hold it.
and they have no joint debt.
Other
Meaning-
than the house.
Other than the house or their cars. In other words, if they have no joint unsecured debt. Your problem here in this situation that you mentioned is they have $20,000 worth of tax debt. So $20,000 worth of tax debt is probably joint because most married couples will file married filings separately. I mean jointly.
So if you have no joint debt, what's the consequence?
You can protect all the equity in the home. You
So
can have $1 million equity. But here's where the strategy comes in. So I have plenty of clients
pay off the joint debt.
where we will focus on doing debt resolution on joint debts, focus on dealing with the joint tax debt, make that go away to the detriment of not paying any of the other credit cards.
So I could take a cash advance on my credit card that's not a joint debt with my wife and use that to pay off the credit card that's a joint debt with my wife?
You possibly could. However, you may find that debt to be deemed not dischargeable in a bankruptcy, but it won't preclude you from using the exemption.
So,
Which is a good outcome.
Yeah.
just to help the people, joint debt. So if I've got a card
The
and my
people.
wife,
He wants to help the
people. I like the people. You have a credit card. It's very common for somebody to have a credit card and to have a second card with an authorized user.
That's
Is
not
that
the
joint
same thing
debt?
as joint debt. So joint debt is joint application.
Okay.
Which
So
is
when-
kind of unusual for a credit card, isn't it?
It is, but and like I looked
I
at a
think
credit
most people
report.
have their own card,
Right.
and
And have a
have their
second
spouse, have
user.
their
As an
kid on
authorized
it,
user.
as opposed
Right.
to the two of them signing up for a card together.
Right. Like I just looked at a credit report
but a
yesterday.
married filing joint tax return is
That's
clearly a
joint
joint
debt.
debt.
Yeah.
Right. So looked at the tax return, the credit
Joint car
report
loan.
yesterday of a couple, and they had $20,000 worth of joint debt and $100,000 worth of debt in their own names. So what are we doing? We're going to focus on the joint
off the
debt.
joint
We're
debt.
going to get rid of it, wait 91 days, and then head into the bankruptcy, protecting the equity in the home.
Why 91
So if
days?
you see this,
Because you have to, because if you pay it off, and it's less than 91 days from the time you
preference.
file
Comes
the
back.
bankruptcy, it's called a avoidable preference, and they can go get the money back.
Bring it back.
Okay.
Pull it back.
so if you have financial problems that you're contemplating this process with, and you don't have the money to pay the taxes that you owe on your return, that's a time to think very strongly about married filing separate.
Absolutely.
Even though the tax liability will be higher, it won't be joint. We'll take a break and we'll stay on this.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to announce THAV GROSS has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon Building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website, thavgross.com, to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Samasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
For almost 60 years, Samasco Law has been the trusted source for helping families navigate the uncertain world of estate planning and elder law. And now, our firm is growing even stronger with the addition of attorneys Joe Frazard and Kelsey Samasco. 2 more lawyers to make sure your family is protected now and into the future. Call Samasco Law today for a free consultation. Our hardworking team is standing by to provide you peace of mind. Samasco Law, protect what matters.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
So we're back. So wrapping up, so on that tax issue, it's an important one. If you don't have to file your return if you apply for the extensions to basically October 15th each year. So if you're in a situation in 2025 thinking, I need to potentially file a bankruptcy and get rid of all this credit card debt, and I don't want to have any joint debt, and I haven't...
And you don't have the ability to pay the income tax debt.
And I know I have a tax liability for 2024.
File married filing separately so that we can keep your debt separate.
Even though the tax liability will be greater, you now have...
Yeah, but it's inconsequential. So if you owed $5,000 because you filed a joint return, and you owe $8,000 because you file married filing separately, but
deal.
you're getting rid of $100,000 worth of debt,
and
or $50,000, whatever it is,
and you're protecting the equity in your home.
Yeah, you have to do that.
And Brian, what happens down the road? You filed separate, still hadn't paid anything, and then you amend your tax returns to file joint. What happens to that tax liability?
Well, the tax liability would be reduced if you did it. I can't tell you that it's appropriate to do that if you file married filing separately and then took advantage of the bankruptcy code. However,
but
are you sure that it's improper?
I don't know that it's improper. I'm just saying that
you just don't want to say that it's proper.
I wouldn't say it's proper because it seems to me that that's something that a Chapter 7 trustee
but
could come back.
retroactively though, you could get it reduced.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well,
maybe.
it depends on what the
But the
tax
bigger
liability
point is it's not that big of a consequence. So you're paying $8,000 in taxes rather than $5,000. What's the benefit you got? You got to protect your equity in your home, and you got rid of $100,000 of credit card debt.
Because you save the three.
The issue you're asking him to say is he doesn't know whether it's appropriate or necessarily legal to do that. I would say it's clever, but I wouldn't say that it's necessarily
It may cause a Chapter 7 trustee to come back in and reopen the case.
Which is the last thing you'd want to have.
And
happen.
you don't want to have that.
And is that allowed to do, by the way? Can they retroactively open up a
they
case?
can if they find an instance where there's an asset or fraud.
Okay.
What about 2 questions? We're talking Chapter 7.
Mm-hmm.
What if your house is in foreclosure is 1, and what about student loan debt?
So, all right. So, if your house is in foreclosure, a Chapter 7, unfortunately, isn't going to do much for you other than buy you maybe some extra time in the house to stop a foreclosure sale while the bankruptcy process is going on. But it's not going to save the home like Chapter 13 does. Chapter 13 reorganizes
So if you want
the
to
arrears.
keep the home,
you got to
need
look at
Chapter
13. That's right.
Okay, and what about student debt?
Student debt, very interesting question. So student loan debt has been potentially dischargeable through a program through the United States Department of Justice, where you apply and you file an adversary complaint to determine the dischargeability, and then the DOJ will negotiate with you if you meet a certain number of standards. Almost nobody meets the standards, but it's easier than what the case law has been in allowing for. However, here's the problem. It was a program under the Biden administration.
So it was a policy, not a law.
Is that program still even in existence?
It is today. While we're talking today,
It's probably in existence today because it's so far down the line they haven't figured out that it exists to get rid of it.
I personally believe that it's unlikely to continue, and it hasn't been overly
So
effective.
what do you do if you got student loan problems?
So student loans, you end up either in a Chapter 13 after a Chapter 7, right? Because if you do your chapter,
Get rid of all your credit card debt.
get rid of everything, and then we can put you into a Chapter 13 and have it keep the student loan at bay for the next 5 years.
Pay a minimal payment.
Yeah. Or you have income-based repayment programs. And while the latest ones that the Biden administration had proposed are
But those are
suffering-
only on government-backed student
They are.
loans, right? Not the Discover student
No,
loan.
they're not on private student loans. The Biden administration's programs never really got going. The SAVE program it's
So
been
they're
found to
done.
be not allowed under whatever
So what do you
rulings.
do?
There are still income-based repayment programs that are out there for government-backed student loans, but otherwise you go into a Chapter 13 and control it for 5 years
to me it's
and
like-
hope that down the road they'll make student loans dischargeable.
That's what that's the goal. Get rid of if you qualify for 7, get rid of your dischargeable debt like your credit cards, your medical bills and everything else. Get rid of the car payment that's underwater and so forth. As far as the
And
chapter,
get rid of the $1,100
If you-
car payment too that you're stuck with.
if you're being chased on the student loan, you throw yourself into a 13 so that managed payment becomes very manageable, and you just wait out the process. Eventually, there's going to, mark my words, there will be student loan relief eventually. Why? Because it's impossible for it to be paid back. And at the end of the day, it hurts the economy because these people can't qualify. If you've got that debt, you can't qualify for a home mortgage and so forth, which is not good for a growing economy. Eventually, just like eventually the Lions will win the Super Bowl, eventually there will be student home relief. I can say there's a little bit difference now. It is greater likelihood that in our lifetime, or in my lifetime, that the Lions will win the Super Bowl than there'll be bona fide student home debt relief.
Student loan relief? No. Student loan relief will happen, but it's already there. You just have to take advantage of the opportunities that exist.
Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.